Coming off Highway 1 in Santa Cruz, this is the sign that greets you as you enter downtown. Right at the entrance, the Gateway Plaza, a bustling, well-kept shopping center that might catch your eye if this didn't catch it first.
There's big tents, there's little tents, there's no place in between, because why would anybody want that? It's unsafe, it's unsanitary, it makes you feel uncomfortable.
It's a ghastly sight of despair, drug abuse, and squalor that seems to grow each day.
Started out in November with just a couple of tents, and then it grew daily.
It's now grown to an estimated 175 tents packed into a half-acre lot. It's known as the Gateway Homeless Camp, and Gateway's managing partner, Tim Sheehan, says it didn't just sprout up on its own.
This encampment is evolving. It just happened. And the city played a role in that, I think.
Sheehan says as soon as the city closed down 2 other camps, Santa Cruz's homeless immediately flocked to Gateway, almost overnight.
They closed everything else in town, and they pointed them to our shopping center, the back of our shopping center.
And for the past 6 months, Gateway owners, tenants, and shoppers have all carried the burden.
My employees and the employees of this center deserve better. Right? They're all afraid to come to work. They're afraid their cars are going to get broken into.
Is my car outside good? Like, are they going to do something to my car? Or when I come out, are they going to rob me? Or you never know.
The Gateway Camp isn't officially sanctioned by the city, but rumors are they funneled them here, and government intervention has certainly made it easier for them to stay here. Narcan, a medication used to treat overdoses, is distributed at the camp, as are needles to shoot up drugs. They call it a needle exchange program. Give us your dirty needles, and we'll give you clean ones. They hand out hundreds of needles each day.
When you need between 300 and 600 needles a day for a safe needle exchange, you have a huge drug problem.
They get 300 to 600 needles a day. I mean, they all have Narcan, and they seem to get help. We're not getting any.
Despite government intervention to try and prevent overdoses, 6 people have died at the camp. Emergency responders make frequent stops here, as do law enforcement officers trying to crack down on prostitution, theft, and drug deals.
The long gun arrests. When I say long gun, it's when they do a drug bust in our parking lot and they have long guns, right? That happened. We had a dead body. Somebody OD'd in the car. 2 or 3 people OD'd in the park. 2 tents caught on fire.
All this in the middle of a family shopping center. The unsavoriness has scared away customers at Gateway, and the theft by those living in the camp has gotten out of control.
These people are homeless and drug addicts. Drug addicts are gonna go steal. They're gonna go try to find how to come up money for their drugs.
And they sold $1,800.
Sold in one day.
In one day.
Last week I had one laptop go out one day and another one go out the next. And they're just grabbing and taking them. And there's nothing we can do.
Rochelle Winchell is a manager at Office Max. She says the past 6 months have been an absolute nightmare. Between a sharp drop in sales and theft, she estimates her store is losing $10,000 a week.
Everything's changed. The productivity of the employees has changed. The revenue's changed. I mean, why am I staying open at night with the utility bill and the payroll and I have no customers walking in the door because I have this going on back here?
More misery fighting the encampment behind the scenes. The center's owners and managers, Cypress Properties, has had numerous meetings with city leaders and back and forth correspondence with no action. They've had to hire additional security guards and put up a fence that's been cut through 6 times. But perhaps most troublesome, they've had to endure the angst of unhappy tenants and customers.
You go from city council meeting to city council meeting to city council meeting. They take a position, they back away from a position. I do think that staff is really working very hard, although they've been working on it for a decade, and they've accomplished very little. And now they have this very serious problem that they need to remedy, and it takes time, unfortunately.
The city has been slow to react, partly because of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals' recent ruling in Martin versus Boise, stating you can't close an encampment on public lands unless you have enough beds available for those displaced. The Ninth Circuit said forcing the homeless to leave would be in violation of their Eighth Amendment rights, likening it to cruel and unusual punishment. So question is, who will protect the rights of the hardworking taxpayers who work and shop at Gateway Plaza?
So as a taxpayer, somebody who works really hard, why do I have to be worried about that? So I think that my rights are absolutely being violated, and it's very, very, very upsetting.
Keep in mind, Gateway provides the city of Santa Cruz an estimated $3 million in annual sales tax revenue and hundreds of jobs. But as each day passes, revenue slips, crime increases, and shoppers are choosing to spend their money somewhere else. Do you have a breaking point as far as your shop? You keep losing sales, and has it affected your business to the point where you're like, shit, I'm moving too?
Eventually, my lease is up in a year. You know, if that thing's still there, I don't know if I'm going to re-sign that lease.
The center survives, it has to survive with the tenants. And if the tenants are negatively impacted as much, then it's going to be very difficult for the center to continue to survive.
As for what happens next at Gateway, only time will tell. Unfortunately for Sheehan and his tenants, time isn't on their side.